10 levels of a Roman slave woman, from property to legacy. In 43 BC, a Roman soldier walked onto an estate south of Rome. He was free. He had fought in a war to earn that freedom. He had money. He had connections. He had clout enough that the overseer stepped aside without being asked. He walked past the main house. He went directly to the slave quarters. He bought 3 people that day, his siblings. He had come to buy a 4th, his mother. She had died 11 days earlier. He had no idea. This story begins 35 years before that moment, with a girl who was 8 years old and did not yet know what she was. Level 1, the child who doesn't know yet. You are 8 years old, and the world makes a kind of sense. You understand the estate, the rows of quarters, the smell of bread drifting from the bakehouse before dawn, the way certain people require your eyes to go down when they pass. You understand your mother's hands calloused, quick, always finding something to do even when there is nothing left to do. You understand that rules exist and that breaking them has consequences and that some consequences cannot be undone. What you do not understand yet is that all of this has a name. There's a woman in the quarters near yours named Horatia. She is the oldest person you have ever seen, and she moves with the particular economy of someone who has spent decades learning exactly how much of herself to spend on each thing and how much to keep in reserve. She watches you the way your mother watches you, not with softness exactly, but with something that costs more than softness. Attention. Real attention. The sustained kind. That means, I see you, I am counting something about you. I am preparing you for something I cannot prevent. You don't know what she is counting. One evening, she calls you to sit beside her and she says your name, your real name, the one that exists only in the language that lives between you and your mother, the one the estate did not give you. And then she says, there are things you need to know before they tell you. You sit down. You are 8 years old. This is the last conversation you will have as someone who is entirely still a child. Level 2, the mathematics of a mother. Horatia tells you everything, not cruelly, not gently, just the facts, arranged in the order most likely to keep you from being destroyed by them when they arrive. She tells you what the estate does with girls who are becoming women. She tells you what it means, what it does not mean, what you are permitted to feel, and what you must learn to put somewhere else. This is the most she can give you. This is what care looks like when care has no power. You walk back to your mother that night, and she is already awake. She has been waiting. She does not ask what Horatia said. She already knows what Horatia said because she is the one who asked Horatia to say it. She pulls you against her and holds you without speaking, and you feel something strange in her arms, a kind of counting. Days? Maybe. The days remaining before the thing Horatia described becomes real for you the way it has always been real for her. The particular mathematics of a woman who knows exactly what is coming for her daughter and has spent years finding no way to stop it and has arrived, finally, at this holding you in the dark, counting what is left. She says your name, quietly, firmly. You both cry. What you do not know yet is that she has been carrying this exact night in her body for years, that she woke every morning knowing this morning was coming and never once found a way to make it not come. That holding you now is the only protection she has been able to arrange, this holding, this naming, this being present with you in the dark before the dark is taken away. She does not sleep. She just holds you and counts. Level 3, the room you did not choose. 2 weeks later, they lead you to a part of the estate you have never seen. A room, better food rations, a man named Thyrsis. You know him from stolen glances across the fields, tall, broad-shouldered, healthy in the particular way that draws attention on an estate that evaluates health the way it evaluates every other resource. You understand now why those specific qualities were selected. Horatia told you. The Romans have understood that breeding slaves is more profitable than purchasing them. Exceptional slaves are bred with deliberate intention, the way one breeds racehorses. The females only need to be acceptable enough not to muddy the outcome. In plain terms, you are the vessel. There are 3 other pairs in the neighboring rooms, 6 other lives arranged into the same situation, with the same lack of ceremony, a room, an upgrade in rations, and the clear understanding that the purpose of both is a pregnancy. No explanation from the masters. None is offered because none is considered necessary. You are a resource being allocated. The ledger will record the outcome. Thyrsis is not unkind. You notice this the first night. He does not look at you the way the overseer looks at you, evaluating, calculating. He looks at you the way someone looks when they are also in a room they did not choose, making the best of an arrangement that required no consent from either of them. There is something almost gentle in the way he moves, almost apologetic. Still, it hurts. Not violently, just the ordinary pain of something happening to your body that your body did not request in a room full of other people performing the effort of not hearing. Afterward, you lie still and listen to the estate settle into sleep. You put one hand flat against your stomach, not because anything has happened yet, because you are already asking the question that Horatia has probably asked herself more times than she can count. How long do I have before they take this one? Level 4. The ledger entry. 3 months later, the mornings give you away, a heaviness that does not lift with the day. Your stomach refusing the extra grain ration provided specifically to produce this outcome. The midwife confirms what your body has already told you. The overseer records it in the ledger with the same handwriting used for everything else on the estate, the same pressure, the same ink, the same indifferent efficiency. Your mother comes when the overseer permits it. She stands in the doorway and looks at you with an expression you have never seen cross her face before and hope you will never see again. Not grief exactly, something more layered than grief. An expression already in the process of saying goodbye to a grandchild she will never be permitted to know. She crosses the room. She puts both hands on your face and holds it for a long moment without speaking. Then she says your real name, quietly and firmly, the way she says it. When she needs you to remember that you are more than what this place has decided you are, you both start crying. The following months arrange themselves into a new routine. Lighter work, not from compassion, but because a miscarriage would cost the estate more than the wool you are not carding. You are moved back to the main quarters, assigned to food preparation and mending. Your mother repositions herself in whatever room you occupy, close enough to be useful, quiet enough not to draw attention from anyone who might resent it. The other women care for you in their own languages. Horatia checks on you without appearing to. Dika saves you the softer bread when there is any. Tersa sends more figs than the ration calls for. Nobody makes a production of it. They simply redistribute what little they have in your direction, quietly, consistently, in the way that people who have nothing find ways to give. Labor comes before dawn and does not end until well into the following night. 18 hours. One midwife. Your mother and Horatia. No relief offered for the pain. You bite down on a leather strap until your jaw aches, and your screaming fills the space that no one on this estate has any power to clear. And then a third cry piercing through yours. A boy, small, red-faced, furious at the circumstances he has been born into. You do not blame him. You check him immediately and thoroughly, looking for anything wrong. You find nothing. To you, in this moment, he is perfect. You give him the name your mother whispered to you once in the language that exists only between the two of you. The estate will name him something else, but he is yours first, even if only for a moment. Level 5, the countdown. You are on a countdown, so you attempt to compress a lifetime of love into weeks. Every feeding, every night, you hold him against your chest and memorize the specific rhythm of his breathing, the specific weight of him, the smell that belongs only to him, because you understand with complete clarity that your memory will be the only place you are allowed to keep him when this is over. One day the midwife comes to you. You know immediately what it means. You kiss his forehead. You hand him over. The next day you are loaded onto a cart and sent to another estate before you have time to begin processing what has happened. The master's sister has given birth. She needs a wet nurse. For the next year, you nurse a stranger's child. You think about your son every single day. To prevent yourself from coming apart, You redirect the love sideways toward this child, this stranger's baby who does not know what he is receiving or where it came from. It helps. It also makes everything harder. Because when this child is weaned and you are returned, when you return, Horatia tells you your son is still on the estate, another section on the other side. He is fine. He simply does not know you. He was taken too young for memory to form around your face. You ask how she knows this. She tells you, the network. The system that the women on this estate built without the master's knowledge or permission. The invisible infrastructure of information passed through careful proximity, trusted messengers, calculated risk, the one the masters pretend not to know about. The only genuine freedom anyone here has ever possessed, the freedom of being known by someone who chooses to keep track of you. You file this away. You will need the network again. You do not know yet for what. Level 6, what gets taken, and taken, and taken. You are 18 when you get pregnant again. Same process, different man older, without Thyrsus's particular consideration. Throughout the pregnancy, he never reaches out, sends nothing. You had believed Thyrsus's care was ordinary. It was not. You understand this now. When you give birth, it is a girl. Weeks later, she is taken. 2 years after that, word arrives through the network. She died. A fever. You receive this information while already carrying your third pregnancy. The grief of it pushes you toward an edge you cannot afford to go over. Your body crosses it anyway. You miscarry. That night you mourn for both of them. Then, by the estate's clockwork schedule, another pregnancy. You are 20. This is already your fourth. You carry it to term. A boy this time, he reminds you, in small ways you cannot fully articulate, of your firstborn. Weeks later he is taken. And then, news through the network. Your firstborn has been sold. He is no longer on the estate. You ask if anyone knows where. No answer comes. It is around this time that Horatia passes quietly on a winter morning. Your mother follows 3 years later. Not dramatically. She simply does not wake up one morning. You see her face finally relaxed, the careful unreadability she maintained for decades, dissolving into something that looks, at last, almost like rest. You sit with her for as long as they permit. Then you go back to work. Because that is what you do here. That is what she spent her whole life teaching you. Level 7, the woman who tells the girls to stand straight. You are 25 when you go into labor again. No complications. You carry to term. And then, midway through, the midwife tells you to keep pushing because another one is coming. Twins, a boy and a girl. The boy dies weeks later. This is common with twins born in these conditions. The infant mortality runs high. But the girl, the overseer, makes the decision to let her stay with you, just the way you stayed with your mother. This single fact gives back something you thought was permanently gone. Not hope exactly. Hope has become too expensive to maintain at full size. Something smaller and more durable than hope. A reason to be careful. A reason to eat the full ration and keep your face neutral and get through one more winter. At 33, you look 45. You are now the woman who tells the younger girls to stand straight and keep their faces empty. You say it exactly the way Horatia said it to you, not with cruelty, not with warmth, just the facts arranged in the order least likely to destroy them when the thing arrives. You are the network now. You watch the young ones the way Horatia watched you. You count something about them. You prepare for things you cannot stop. You give them what Horatia gave you, not comfort, which would be a lie, but information, which is the only honest form of care this place permits. You are 35. Your daughter is with you. Your sons are somewhere unknown in the empire. Your mother is gone. Horatia is gone. You are the oldest woman here, and you are very tired in a way that has nothing to do with the day's labor. But the system is still running, and you are still inside it. Level 8, the message. A month after you turn 35, the overseer tells you this will be your last pregnancy. You accept. Nobody refuses the overseer. 2 months later, confirmed pregnant. You settle into the familiar routine of it and allow yourself to believe that this room, this estate, this ledger, this counting down of everything is the full extent of what life will offer you. Then one evening, a woman leans close in the way women on this estate lean close when something must travel without being heard. She says, "Your first one, the boy they took, he is alive, and you need to hear what he has become." You listen. He was sold to an estate near a military garrison in the South. He grew up as a camp servant carrying equipment, tending horses, watching soldiers train from close enough to learn the patterns of it. When he was a teenager, a war broke out. The general was desperate enough to recruit from the servants. He called for volunteers and promised freedom in exchange for demonstrated bravery. Your son volunteered. He fought. He survived. The general kept his word. That was 3 years ago. Since then, your son has distinguished himself in garrison service near Rome. He has connections now. He has money enough to matter in negotiations. He has clout. And through the same network that carried his story to you, he has been sending questions back the other direction about the estate, about its layout, about you. He wants to know where he came from. You begin exchanging words through channels that take weeks and carry risk at every point of transfer. Brief messages pass through freed slaves making deliveries, traveling merchants with loose loyalties, women permitted to visit relatives in the city who can be trusted with a few careful sentences. He asks if he had siblings. You tell him the truth. The girl taken early who died of a fever. The boys you held briefly. The daughter beside you now. The child still coming. He knows what the system is. He cannot dismantle it. But he has found the precise point where money intersects with Roman law, and a man with enough of the former can use the latter to do something specific. He writes back through the chain. He is coming. Not yet. He needs more time, needs the right moment, needs the negotiation positioned correctly before he approaches. But he is coming. He intends to buy every person on this estate that shares his blood. You read this message twice in the dark with your daughter asleep against your side. For the first time in 35 years, you feel something uninvited arrive in your chest, dangerous and bright and completely without precedent. Hope. Level 9. What the body knows. Not everything goes as planned. Your labor comes in the 8th month. It begins with a fever, then bleeding that should not be happening at this stage. Your body has performed this process more times than most women survive. It has given everything the system demanded and found reserves to give beyond that. And now it is communicating with the flat, honest directness of something that has reached its actual limit. You knew this was coming. Not today specifically, but you knew it was coming. You simply hoped the body would find one more extension. The labor lasts 4 days. On the 4th day, a boy arrives, alive, screaming with the particular fury of someone who has come into a difficult situation and intends to make his presence known regardless. He is immediately handed to another woman for nursing, while you lie back and attempt to catch one clear look at him. You do not hold him. You are not able to, because by the time the midwife turns her attention back to you, you are already gone. The estate records it in the same handwriting used for grain yields and weather observations and livestock births. One line. No cause of death specified. No children named. Just a remark. Level 10. What the ledger left out. Your son receives the news through the network 11 days after it happens. He comes immediately. He walks onto the estate, the place that manufactured him out of your body without your consent, the place he left as a child small enough to be carried, and he does not pause at the gate. He walks past the main house. He goes directly to the records and then to the quarters, and he buys his siblings. Every one he can account for. He sends men south to begin looking for the missing brother, the one sold years ago, to an address no one has been able to confirm. He makes the promise he sent through those careful, dangerous chains of messengers into the one thing he has enough power to actually do. Because of what he does that day, the newborn will not grow up as a slave. He will never know what freedom costs. He will not understand, in his lifetime, the precise arithmetic of what was spent so that he could move through the world without accounting for himself in someone else's ledger. His earliest memories will be ordinary things: a sound, a face, a meal that was simply food and not a calculated ration. He will grow up without comprehending the weight of what was given, so he could be light. But your daughter will remember. She will grow up, and she will tell her own children about a woman with calloused hands who taught her to carry weight without letting anyone see how much it cost. Who said your real name in the dark so you would not forget it was yours? Who stood straight and kept her face empty and got through each year? Because the alternative was giving them the satisfaction of watching you break, and that was the one thing she refused to give them. The ledger will record none of this. It never does. But somewhere on that estate, in the quarters that will be assigned to someone else before the week is out, a small wooden bird sits tucked into a gap in the wall where you left it. It is the only part of you the ledger could not find a line for. It is the part that remains. Somewhere right now, a historian is reading a Roman estate record from the 1st century BC. The handwriting is careful and consistent. Grain yields, tax assessments, livestock numbers, weather observations, and in the margins, between two columns of figures, a single line about a woman, no name, no children listed, no cause. Just a remark about a resource that is no longer available. The historian moves on to the next entry. The wooden bird sits in a wall that has not existed for 2,000 years, in the ruins of an estate that no one remembers, holding the name of a woman that no ledger thought worth keeping. The cycle continues.